Yo, 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 what's up? This is Skinny's Black's Lounge. My name is Rob, aka Skinny Black. We're gonna do a round robin of introductions. Um, we'll say Carrie. JT.
JT, period is silent. Hi, mom.
Okay. Carrie. Carrie, can you hear me? Hello? Can you hear me, Carrie? Carrie. All right. Can you hear? I don't think Carrie can hear us. Can you hear me? You can't hear me? Okay. Jay, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. He might have dropped out and come back in.
Yeah, you might have to drop out and come back in, Carrie. But we'll get him to introduce himself once he get the audio straight. Um, can you hear us now?
You gotta type something in the chat.
All right, here it go.
This is all I'm gonna do to assist you with your technical difficulty.
Oh, okay. Okay, let him know. Okay, cool. How about now? Can you hear us? Oh, okay, cool.
Black on, Negro operated. Go ahead.
There it is. We love it. We love it. So, hey, before we get started today, as we usually do, we'll have people coming in and coming out. Hey, this is live and direct. We live and direct. So, but like we always do about this time, sucker shit.
Man, I was thinking
Uh-oh.
uh, about my grandma, man. Family,
Oh,
grandma, my late grandmother, not about because one of my grandmas is still alive. I was thinking about grandmama Rosetta Jackson. And growing up on the east side, we used to walk, or we used to walk because my grandma didn't have no driver's license. So we used to walk around the corner. We would cut through my original godmother's backyard, right? And around the corner, up the block, was the church I grew up in. Friendship Primitive Baptist Church, 827 East Jefferson Boulevard. Elder Ernest Mathis, pastor.
okay.
You know, and I spent a lot of time in church. I was it was a small primitive Baptist church, and I was everything, dog. Junior deacon, I was secretary, treasurer, Sunday school, I was usher, junior usher. I sang in three choirs, and I can't sing: men's choir, youth choir, and the regular choir. And they got me to thinking, man, so much of my life has been biblical. So like uh like my grandma. I know how much you love, moms, grandma, all that, Rob, growing up. But like I told you, man, like to me, my grandma was God, you know, because she whooped my ass every day, and on the seventh day she rested. You know. Um, then I was thinking about something we just talked about today, me and you, Rob. And happy belated birthday, by the way, brother. Uh, and you was telling me about how your son, my godson, Bobby, treated you to breakfast, right? And I remember Father's Day, when my son treated me to lunch, right? And it was biblical, man. The last shall be first, and the first shall be last, because that was the first and the last time that he ever paid for a meal for me. I took a picture. It was a Kodak moment. I was thinking about my grandfather
So
who used to go in the bathroom and dye his hair, right? Now this man's a senior citizen with gray hair and would come back out 45 minutes later with jet black afro. So he was doing a reverse Moses. Because you know when Moses went to the burning bush, he came with gray hair and tablets. My grandfather walked out with black hair and a box of dark and love. And then I was thinking about my uncle, because growing up in the house, one of my uncles, well, a couple of my uncles lived there. We had a lot of people in that house. But one of my uncles, man, he had a huge porn collection, and he had them all, man. Hustler, Playboy. He had two of each. He was like Noah. He was collecting it for his art. And then last but not least, because I was a rowdy kid, and so I have four uncles, and when I got out of hand, my grandma would call them in to discipline me, right?
Ooh,
And you know what those were?
what's that?
The four horsemen of the apocalypse. So Second Thessalonians niggas, you on some sucker shit.
Yo, I like how you went around, ran around, came back around without the wretch around. That was all right. As always, man, I didn't see that coming. So,
JT lost his mind.
did you say Second Thessalonians?
Yeah.
Want
You
me to
don't know
say-
your books of the Bibles?
I didn't know if it was first. I didn't remember if it was first or Second Thessalonians. Okay.
So all you know is Genesis and Ruth.
Well, Babs,
Enoch.
Man stuck in the Old Testament.
you know what I'm saying? So, hey, Skinny Black Clowns, we're in the spot, we're in the place. Thank you, JT, for one more, exciting sucker shit. Thank you, bro. Hey, let's get a couple more introductions in. Kerry, he's back.
Hey, how's it going, fellas? I'm Kerry Williams. I'm Cam's oldest brother. I'm here in Houston. Just happy to be part of today's discussion, man. Not a lot going on about me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Cam.
Cameo Williams, California spread love enthusiast, ready to see what we get cracking in tonight.
All right. So, hey, let's get this thing cracking, man. So, the beautiful thing about SBL is that nobody knows what we're going to talk about until they get here. So, so here's the thing. So, from the brother on the block who's learned to move differently around the police, from the brother in the boardroom and the office who learned to talk differently around executive, different zip codes, different states, same mask. So today I'm asking, how much has that cost you? And do you even know what you've lost? Right? So here's the framing. So whether you grew up in the projects or the suburbs, whether you're running a corner or running a company, at some point somebody taught you, or showed you who you were wasn't quite right for where you were trying to go. So you adjusted, you adapted. You learned the code switch. That's the word, code switch. And for a lot of us, we got so good at it, we start calling it professionalism. We start calling it maturity. We start calling it growth. But today I'm asking an even harder question. What if some of what we call growth, professionalism, maturity, all that good stuff, What if it was actually lost? So this is SBL, Skinny Blacks Lounge. Stay curious. Let's get it started. So we've all done it. We've changed the channel on ourselves the second we walked into a room. When did you first realize you even had a mask? And who taught you to put it on? Let's get it started.
Who first taught me was the police, ironically. Well, I can go back further. The courts.
Oof.
The family court. Just dealing with some of the things in my family. I watched how people were communicating, with the mediator, with the CPS worker, and then how they spoke to us, and then when they got in the courtroom, how they spoke there was different. In my mind, I said, in order to be heard and understood, I need to meet those people where they were. I don't think that's entirely a bad thing, but in my mind, that's what I thought. I need to meet them where they are. And I was young then, but that was my initial introduction. That, me and my brothers, we weren't all like wilding out, but we talked like everybody else talked in the South Central. But I knew I wasn't going to be able to do that in those environments if I was hoping to be understood in my mind. So that was my first.
Well, did you see something that was like, oh, that didn't work for them, let me do it different?
Well, because when you're waiting for them to do your case, you are privy to watching other people's cases. And whether it was parents that I thought wasn't composed, wasn't poised, were super loud. Not that I was that and I needed to change from that, but in my mind, I was like, I don't want to lose composure, even as a 12-year-old, 11-year-old in my mind, because the ones I saw was being, they were being hauled off. Let's just say they were being hauled off. And there was a lot of, we won't have that in my courtroom type stuff. So, funny thing, I never even thought about that to this. But yeah, I vividly remember watching other people in my mind not get the desired results because they appeared to either be chaotic, not good communicators. It just didn't seem like it went well from a kid's perspective, that it did not go well. So in my mind, I wanted to be slower, deliberate, and we just trying to decide where we're going as kids, or given our perspective. But even then, I wanted to make sure I was heard. And I just felt like being a little more deliberate, under control. I have the emotion. I'm passionate about what's going on. But at that time, I felt like I had to do my best to do what today we call emotional intelligence. I didn't think about that's what it was called then. I just wanted to be heard and understood.
Carrie.
I think my first experience, probably, I'm a little older than some of you maybe on the phone, but until I was 9, I grew up in Shreveport, Louisiana. I wasn't with my brothers or my sister. My family was with my great grandmother. And so she was in a plantation house for like 50 years. And my great grandmother was raising me. So when she would come home, everybody talked like everyone talks in the South. But when the phone rang and it was white people calling from work to say, come in earlier, don't come tomorrow, the way she spoke to them, the level of respect she gave them, or the level of, I know my place, speak a certain way, was my first. I was 3, 4, 5 years old. It was much different than I heard her speak to the people at the store, the people, or the people. So that was my first understanding. Okay, there is a level of respect to certain people. She was never disrespectful to anyone, but the level of respect to different people based on the environment. And then we moved to Los Angeles, and then I met the rest of my siblings, brothers, but our family was big on respect. So going to LA and understanding, okay, I don't know if we're going to what we call code switch, but you have to recognize where you are and who you're speaking to, and you have to apply yourself appropriately. So I think mine started way back by hearing my great grandmother talk to people who she felt had a level of control over the situation. And
Can I share something? Can I ask something? And by the way, Kerry's my big brother. I think Kerry's one of the dopest people on the planet. So this is like a coup for us to have him, you know, on SBL, man. But as I'm thinking about what he said, I wonder even subconsciously if there was some people have to earn your respect and others are just given it, you know.
I don't really, I guess in my lifetime, I don't really subscribe to that. I subscribe to
We're back.
Growing up the way we did, everyone gets respect until you do something disrespectful. Right? So I don't have to give it, everyone on the phone, I may not know you, but I'm going to give you respect until you do something across the line of disrespect, then I know how to move forward. Well, hearing her, amazing. She treated everyone amazing, but how she spoke to the white people in the plantation houses where she worked was different. Then I come to LA, meet my grandmother, and all right, and how like a golf club, still in Los Angeles, but how talk on the phone to the folks on the phone was a lot different. So you realize really quickly, I have to understand who I'm speaking to, how I'm going to speak. The same things growing up in LA when the police would come around to cameo around where we were, and they would give us baseball cards. We didn't even speak to them the way we spoke to people on the block.
Mm-hmm.
So early on, I at least recognized that there's a difference in how I need to carry myself based on the people I'm speaking to and based on what I want from them. It matters. So I really believe that you give everybody respect until they do something to force you to have to handle them differently. And I saw that from 3, 4, 5 years old.
Yeah, and you know, back in the day, wasn't no call ID, so you ain't know who was calling. You know, I was getting that butt whooping. My mom be like, "What? Hello? Who was that woman?" Well, no call ID. We ain't know who was calling. We ain't gonna mess up no opportunity, no chances, right?
If you're
JT.
and it start clicking, you better get off, get on the phone.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Jay, so you know, question on the table. You know, when did you
Well,
first realize you had a mask?
oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, brother. I'm sorry.
No. When did you first realize you even had a mask, and who taught you to put it on?
Well, you know, a couple things come to mind. First of all, I'm in total agreement with across the board as young kids. We learned or witnessed the talk to black people voice versus the talk to white people voice. Okay, I think that's a universal thing. Um, you know, so I had that, but it got me, yeah, you know, it got me thinking about because you know I grew up on the east side, man. Wasn't no white people over there, you know. So um, the first white person I remember was my elementary school teacher. She taught me first, third, and fourth grade, right? And her name was Miss Barker. And I learned how to play the game. I learned how to play the game with her, right? To become one of her favorite students, right? So in my memory goes back. That was one of the places, and I went to Wadsworth Avenue Elementary, and on the backside of Wadsworth was a Pioneer Chicken, and you know she would take her favorite kids
Mm-hmm.
to Pioneer, treat them for lunch, so you didn't have to eat that bullshit LAUSD lunch
There
with
been no
that
hate on that
yellow
lunch,
meal
man.
ticket.
Don't hate on that lunch.
And
Don't hate on
hey
it.
man, I just like the coffee cake is bomb, but the lunch
Coffee
sucks.
cake.
So
Okay.
so you know, I learned how to work it and act in the way she liked. So I give my ass the pioneer, you know. And for some brothers, that will start their love for fried chicken and white women. But for me,
Yeah, that would do
it
it.
just started. It just started wearing the mask. The second place that's vivid in my mind, and it actually ties into what I was talking about in the intro, was church.
Mm.
And
Mm.
in church, I learned because you know every environment has its own language. Every environment has the different elements in, it, and you got to learn the nuance in every environment. And you know, you see comedians stand up and talk about it all the time. They can do call and response with the crowd because black folks that grew up in church, every church is doing that. So I learned to wear a mask in that place, but I did that because I was so in love with my grandmother and that was her favorite place.
Mm.
And so I wanted to make her happy.
Mm.
So I
So,
code switched in that because I was a good church boy on Sunday and I was raising all hell Monday through Saturday.
man, I think you was trying to get some credits for the week, so at least you go easy on you.
But I got beat every day growing up.
Mm.
That's wild.
Damn,
Yeah,
Toby.
6 days a week. Yeah, 6 days a week. And people think I'm exaggerating, but if my sister was on here, she'd be like, nah, he did.
Yeah. I've heard.
Unfortunately, you
I've
know, it's
heard the
crazy. I
story.
see that. I don't know what that says, but I can see that.
So
Guys,
let me go ahead, Gary. Go ahead.
I say that's interesting because to hear him say it, that you understand the do's or the don'ts, and then you figure out what you're willing to risk to get what you want, right?
Mm.
But also that comes with, I want to also give it to my grandmother because I want to give her what
Mm.
she from me. She wants a good boy on these days, but I want to have something for me. So I like that conversation.
Hey, that was perfect because the next question was about, so when you're code switching, are you protecting yourself, protecting the other people, or have you just stopped asking the question altogether? It sounded like in this situation, it was about protecting your grandma.
It's a good question. I don't know if, well, definitely when I'm talking to the police, I'm protecting myself. Or a lot of times I have my brothers or friends with me. And so I'm protecting them as well. You know, you don't want to be with the crew where one of us decides that he wants to keep it real. You know, like no, let's keep it alive. Let's try to keep it alive. And so I guess it's definitely a mask. I mean, the code switching, because being your authentic self and what you want to say, you know, I think Kerry mentioned it about the risk, the consequences. And I guess for me, I think I'm just learning, like, what's the value? Even like in my relationship, what's the value in me just spatting off, you know, just because I just want to honor those feelings and emotions versus let me take a deep breath. Let me take a step back. Either not say nothing or say it differently than I really want to. I don't know if that's entirely a bad thing. Obviously, you're risking your total authentic self, your total authentic self. Yeah, I'll just leave it there.
And what do you end up suppressing about you, how you feel, your perspective when you do that?
Sometimes it's just the style that you're suppressing. Its style is the tone and texture of that conversation. And going back to what JT said, ultimately, what am I trying to get out of this? Either what am I trying to protect or what am I trying to get out of this? Sometimes you're just protecting your well-being. Sometimes you're protecting your finances. So it really is, what is my desired outcome? And maybe I'm code switching to get the desired outcome, whatever that is. Some people will call that adapting and being versatile versus code switching. You know? So I don't know. It's a good question.
I can lend something to this that really, I don't know if it's insightful, but I think it'll help the conversation. So I worked for AutoZone 20 years. Or so when they have 6,000 stores. When I started, they had 200 stores. I worked for, so I was one of the first regional managers of the company. And wasn't no black, wound up being, I don't know, at some point, 12 of them. We take a lot of trips. And so this would have been mid 90s. And so every time we would go on these big trips, it was just me, the only black, and all the whites. And I would be in vans and they would go, "Hey, Kerry, do you mind if we tell a story?" And I've always been pretty headstrong. And I would just look at them and go, "I don't mind you tell a story, but if it's racial, as long as you don't mind being punched in the face." Tell a story. "Oh no, why you gotta be like that?" What I go, I'm not being like anything. I've never been a person that really works on peer pressure, but I know in the moment when I'm saying that, there's going to be trips that I don't get invited to. There's going to be I miss out on because a lot of things are done on the golf course. I didn't play golf, so I learned to play golf so I can be part of those conversations. But I know in the moment, I would rather protect the respect that I need them to give me than just go along to get along. But I understand I'm risking opportunity. I'm risking upper mobility. So sometimes you have to realize what it's worth. And for me, it was worth not being disrespected. Because you can't get it back. Once people are comfortable disrespecting you, you can't put the genie back in the bottle. But along the way, I had to learn how to say the same thing, but different. At the time, I didn't have that set of skills. I'm punching you in the face. As well, now I realize after being to classes and going and understanding how to speak to people differently, to say the same thing. But anytime you push back on people disrespecting you, or you risk your upper mobility, you risk friendships, you risk love interests, you risk a lot of things. So for everybody, it's what are you willing to risk to keep your respect or to keep your livelihood? And sometimes code switch to protect that.
Jay.
Piggyback on what Kerry was talking about, we make risk reward analysis all the time. And I'm glad that you graduated from threatening to dog walk your coworkers.
Oh no, he didn't really graduate. We say it differently now. That's all.
That's good. No, to me, that's graduation.
Touche.
Now, this is coming from a man who called one of his coworkers a bus driving bastard today at work. But
that's what I'm laughing.
So I don't. Yeah, but it's allowed in my job. But
you got a different type of industry going on, man.
But we make these risk reward analysis all the time. Like right now, my youngest, she's in college, right? And I'll pay for it. Well, that makes me double take sometimes on decisions, because what's the old thing about keeping it real? Okay, or your pride. Well, some elements of keeping it real and your pride are not worth sacrificing the future of your children.
Right.
And so you make that risk reward analysis. So there are situations where, and I'm not saying not nothing crazy, but you will take a step back in certain situations, say, nah, that's not working. Or you say, you know what? I will keep this mask on a little bit longer.
Mm.
But another element that I thought of as you guys were talking is the mask as a protector, because there are some people that you don't want to get closer to,
Mm.
Mm.
right?
That's real.
Yeah.
Um, it is protection, right? So there's some positive elements to code switching and taking care of things. And lastly, I'll say, to go back to what I initially started talking about, is what's your purpose, right? And if
Generally
something
speaking, or in
is
that moment.
no in the moment, and what's your goal, right?
Right.
So, like when I talk about my goal of getting my daughter through school, and she wants to be a veterinarian, so I know I'm paying for 8, 9 years of school. I have a long term goal and purpose that's
Mm.
greater than most of the BS conversations that I'm engaging in the moment. So I will let some stuff slide.
Mm.
You know, I won't get it to the point where I'm disrespected or anything like that, but I know how to deal with those situations now that I'm a little more mature, and keep it going and not blow everything up.
I think when you were just talking about goals, we talked about desired outcomes. Um, I'm vividly thinking of a time where, and I got to realize I'm talking to more than just us, where I have custody of my daughter, right? And Bobby, you know this story. Not sure if I ever told Carrie the entire story. So at this point, man, I'm paying child support for a child I got custody of, right? On top of that, I'm a child support deputy. I'm in a whole different county, so it's a whole lot of emotion and things going on. And so I go to court, and as much knowledge as I have, and the reason I want to bring this up, you can have so much emotion and passion that you go across the threshold of code switching, where you're like, you know what? So I set it off in there because it's just not going my way. It's some BS, and I talk to the judge like I would talk to an enemy, you know, like you got me, man. I jump across. It was just all bad. So long story short, I end up they
You thought you was Lorenz Tate. You know
man,
what I'm saying?
it was some things that I wouldn't do now. Like I know how to weaponize my words better now. That's what I'll say. I know how to weaponize them where I can be as close to my authentic self and get at least be heard the way I want to be heard, right? And have the opportunity to have a favorable outcome. I didn't get the favorable outcome, but I was thinking, well, I just was like, man, heck with this book. I tossed everything down. It was just all bad. And they end up holding me the whole day. Obviously, it's civil court, so they can't hold you overnight. It's a message in there for somebody that don't know the law. They can't hold you overnight, you know, for that familial thing. But I was held in what they call the wraparound. That's like the little cell behind, you know, the courthouse or the courtrooms. And they kept bringing me back in. But long story short is I did not I communicated as if I was talking to somebody I couldn't stand on the block. And I wouldn't do that today. But my point in sharing that is that emotion. If you don't have it, you ain't even gonna give yourself a chance to have the code switch. You know, that emotion get the best of you, and it got the best of me.
Yeah, I'd like to add something to what Cam said, and is I know there's times that I need to be, but I'm not good. So my alternative to that is we've dealt with each other on some business things, some personal things, other things. I am very, very kind of straightforward, but I'm also mono. So what I realize is that when I know code switching is necessary, since I don't get overly emotional about really anything, I understand being calm and being quiet also works good because people will start matching your energy.
Yeah, well, yeah,
So
correct.
presentation, or the room is getting hot and everybody's starting to emotion, or I'm talking to somebody and I know that I need to take a different tone. What I realize is, instead of me going on their side, I just look at the tone on my side.
Yeah, I like that. Let's pivot for a second. So whether it's the barbershop, whether it's on the block, on the corner, whether it's cigar lounge, or even this space, this podcast, Skinny Blacks Lounge, why does it feel different in these spaces? Why does it feel different in the barbershop? Why does it feel different in the block?
Because the
What is
mirror
It don't feel different. It don't feel different. It is different.
Say that.
Yeah.
it's me.
I'm telling you, silk don't feel like cotton because they different, right? Like I said before, every environment, every situation has its rules, right? You got your mode of operation in every situation, every room you walk into. They're all separate environments, and if you want to achieve success in said environment, you have to learn it. Cam just gave the example of being a jackass in court. That's why they put his black ass on timeout.
Facts. They did put me on time. Facts.
Yeah,
You know, and so, because it's a certain decorum and a certain way you have to carry yourself within those four walls. That doesn't exist at the barbershop, and that doesn't exist at the cigar lounge. Those are places of leisure, sir.
Well, let me say, wait. You just made me tap into something else. The comfort level of the barbershop, I'm used to the terrain of this barbershop, the tone, the texture. I get the wit, right? The jargon. But it'll go down in the barbershop too. Also. So you cannot code switch and it still go left. Also.
Well, yeah, but that's true. Touche. But also, but my point is, in order to achieve whatever your version of success is in said environment, you have to learn it. Whether it is the barbershop or the cigar lounge or work or school, you know, like I talked about working my elementary school teacher. I worked every teacher I had, right? I learned that early on, right? I work my family. They just found out 2 years ago I never liked school. They was under the impression I liked that shit the whole time. Right? Because I could do whatever I want if I got good grades. So I worked it. Right? I was just working the environment. You know, so the first question Rob asks is, what did you lose? I lost the address in South Central.
Did you lose it or not? Or you
we moved, I lost it. You know, and so I mean, you know, I lost robbing Peter to pay Paul. So there are some acceptable losses that happen. You know, now the danger is, and we got to be honest. I mean, if you're a brother working in a corporate environment, you know, and learning that terrain, there is a question of like, where do the lines get blurred, and do you lose yourself sometimes? You know, because if you've ever been a party to like folks, non-black folks talking about black people, like you're not one of them,
man,
because they don't see you as black. You a different kind of black person. You know what I mean? I've been in those situations. You know, so there's that part of it. But in order to achieve success in a place where you are only 13% of the population and you are not the dominant people and do not establish the laws, the rules, the regulations, and the structure, code switching is survival.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
Hey, You made me just think of. Oh my God! I was trying to think of the comedian that came on Dave Chappelle, and until that moment, I just thought he was a corny black dude. And then he came with the hood. Oh my God! I can't even think of dude's name. He does it.
Wayne Brady.
Wayne Brady. Let me think. This conversation should have had a clip with Wayne Brady, because he definitely knows multiple. I mean, that night I was stunned when he came. I was like, "Yo, like I didn't even know he can talk like us," which is some crazy stuff. Cause you're a black man, why couldn't he talk like us? But I had saw him in all these other terrains and never really saw that, and it made him successful. It made him extremely successful. But I really just thought about that. But at the core, he just as a Negro dominant as the rest of us. But he learned how to work the room.
See, that's it's funny you should say that. That's funny on a whole bunch of other levels that you should say that.
Yes.
That knowing what you know, that you wouldn't expect that he would be able to do that. You know what I'm saying?
But I also never had the data that's even suggested that.
What I'm saying, knowing this country, knowing why people code switch, knowing what rooms people are in, knowing the rooms that he's in, like that dude doing something. He code switching something. We hope, right?
Okay. Or did he code switch the other way? Could
have. So here's a question. So if the people that really know you, your day ones, your Ace Boone Coon, if they watched you in your most professional moment, what would they say about the guy that was watching?
In my most professional moment?
Yes.
Today they still say I'm me. Today. But that's today. Because I've learned to, I'm just better at being me and still getting my points across in a very articulate way. But it's me. So they wouldn't say I'm different. Maybe 20 years ago. Like, man, why are you talking like that? Like, what are you doing in this room? If it was like, but not no more. Like, they still say it's me. It's authentically me.
Hop in, Kerry.
I think the people that know me would think that, especially from the corporate side or the nonprofit side, the things that I do, they would be shocked that there's a more pleasant person on the other side.
Oh, wow.
Those water.
Kerry's a beast business-wise. Kerry's that.
Hammer on him.
Normally, when I'm on. There's very little, hey, let's smoke and joke and talk and this. I'm never comfortable doing that. And the reason I'm never comfortable, because I know that I have the discipline, but I've been around in business 40 years, and a lot of other people don't know when to stop. They don't. Not just white people, black people too. They start getting a little too comfortable, and they engage you in a conversation that now you're both somewhere in front of HR, right? Right? So it's not.
Sound like that man speaking from experience.
Yeah.
I normally don't go there, even with people who I share the same complexion with. I also like to keep a level of professionalism there, because, and sometimes I have to say, hey, bro, you might want to slow down with, or we're out and they want to drink. I don't drink in corporate situations. I'm not a drinker anyway, but there I never drink, because my experience shows people take things a little further than they intended. You boardroom, before you walk in that boardroom, before you walk in that meeting, if it's familiar people, you know who's going to take it too far before you walk in. You talk barbershop in your comfort zone, you know it going in. But sometimes we want to fit in. Sometimes we want to go along. So I would say the people who know me best would be shocked. Oh man, this guy like racing, he goes sporting events, he goes this. They would be shocked, because I don't normally take that into anything that's related to work, business, environments like that. So I think they will be shocked the other way.
Jay.
They would just say that's. I mean, I'm the same, but that's my industry though. So I pick something where your personality is
Asset.
encouraged. It's encouraged, yeah, and it's an asset. But I was thinking about this, about code switching. What do we say to the kid, young man, the young woman that grows up middle class, upper middle class, and then cosplays being from the hood?
They phony.
They're code switching too,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and trying to wait a minute. And here's the devious thing about it.
Celebrated.
They think that's being authentically black,
Right.
Yeah.
as if somehow only like somehow black is only hood. Somehow that's the true black folks,
Like that black middle class family that you in
right?
ain't really black.
And everybody I know that grew up in the hood, that's made some success in life. The last thing they trying to do is look like they hood.
Yeah.
It's so crazy to me to watch that play out. So this mask and this code switching thing goes multiple ways. It goes in many directions.
It's a lot of depth to it. I think I did want to add and share a story. Kerry mentioned, just being out and how when I say we, us as African Americans, you're not necessarily in your mind afforded the full human experience, right? So when I go to the Final Four all the time, it's a million parties. I mean, man, these coaches be getting lit at these parties, right? So I done been to about 7 to 8 Final Fours. And now when I go, I feel like I'm like there to help the younger African American coaches. Cause they there and they're like, yeah, give me another one. I'm like, hey, no, let's not do that. Like, and I remember this coach, bless her heart. I won't say her name. She used to coach at University of Hawaii years ago, so people won't figure it out. But she's there, and I'm looking at her throwing back, right? I'm like, so I look at my homeboy, and I'm like, Deli, we need to go over here and like get her. We're not even super tight like that, but I'm aware that this is all there's a lot of pink people in the building. The caucasity is at a high level. They're turned up. They can be, I've learned, they can be turned up for the most part.
No negative impact. Or
Man,
less.
now it's a part is you're not on, she didn't have no polo. We're at that part. Man, people shared that the next day. That lady has not had a job in the college ranks. That was 2017. That was 2017. And by the way, phenomenal JUCO coach, championships, won WAC championships, WCC championship. Like, she was elite recruiter, and I'm like, yo, like you can't do that. So now when I'm there, like, there's no drinking for me at the Final Four. I'm not a heavy drinker or anybody, but that's all the more reason for me not to. I don't even want to have it where I look a certain way. And whether that's fair or not, we got to have a certain decorum. We're not afforded that latitude or grace, or this is not a professional setting, but everyone knows each other, right? And you thinking you can let your hair down. I'm like, no, keep it up. Keep that hair. Keep that up. So to Kerry's point, when I go this year, I'll be looking around like I'm on security. Like, let me make sure none of us getting out of pocket. I don't want them missing out on opportunities.
They like to do when you're questionable. It's hard to do right. So you have to be right. It's not that you have to do right. You have to be right, because so many people are waiting for us to fumble.
Yes.
You right for 20 straight years. You mess up once, now your character or how you speak or it's not the same. And I think code switching, and he said it earlier, a lot of it is survival. The time I put in, the efforts I put in, what I've done, it can be gone instantly if I'm not aware of when to turn it on and when to relax it. Because there's someone always looking to take your spot, not only in business, not only in relationships, but also in your family standings. So we all have an opportunity to say, okay, when do I apply this version of and I think we all do it, everyone does it, but for us it's critical because the loss can be monumental. And he said it, same thing when he talked about his daughter, and he's paying for vet school. My daughter was going to USC, and I wanted to get out of a current relationship I was in. I knew I had to stay a little longer before I separated. $1,000 out of pocket, I mean, every semester. I said, okay, I have to stay another year and make the best of the situation, because there's, right? So we do it in relationships, we do it in business, we do it in family. And I think it's important that at least we recognize who we need to be and when we need to be.
Yeah. Oof.
So
Go, Jay.
you gotta you recognize the situation you in, right? So we understand that some of the game isn't fair, right? But if you was looking for fairness, you can close your eyes now and go to sleep, because you're not gonna find it in this life, you know. And if you believe in reincarnation, you ain't gonna find it in the next, you know. But what I will say is the other part of me goes like, look at our people's history, man. What the young kids who had to desegregate schools went through. What people, you know, I don't need to go deep into our history of getting rights and being treated as equals, and what we had to do to survive and thrive in this country. And my mind goes, nigga, you can't put down the Hennessy at a company event.
But a lot of people,
you know what I'm saying?
But it's free, man. It's free.
A lot of people don't understand.
Unlimited.
As crazy as it sounds, a lot of people don't understand risk, and they don't believe that risk will attach to them. I think conversations like this, especially for people who are listening, so they understand our level of success. That people understand we are, but that's that there's a generation who are podcasters and young, and my son's an accountant. They don't understand the risk because they may have grown up in the suburbs, and there's a little more equitable. So we keep breathing life into these conversations. People can understand. Even we have never made it to a point that we can just relax, let our hair down, and just let it. We're never going to have that experience.
Nope. You can't just be in that moment and just.
But see,
you can't.
But
you cannot. We learned that. You can't. Let me be clear. We watch people get castrated for trying to keep it real, be separated from families for trying to keep it real. And so you know what you learn. You know what? I'll tiptoe around here, and as long as my family could be alive, and I'll tiptoe around here and act a certain way so I can get extra food for my family, warmth, a blanket or something for my family. If it's something that you wanted to do, no, you don't want to do that. Your whole dignity is gone. You don't want to do it, but I think you learn, like, this is something that could benefit my family, whatever that is. And so from that standpoint, that's where I'm coming from with that.
I think that a healthy amount of fear is necessary, and this is what I mean by that.
Mhm.
We've talked about different sacrifices we made for our children, families. Um, I made a promise to myself about the kind of life that I wanted I call them my offspring now because they both over 18. My offspring to have, right? A huge fear of mine was letting them down.
Understandable.
And that healthy amount of fear that I had in that drove me to work harder, to be better, to be true to my word, you know? It's some promises that I've made that I refuse to break, right? And so that healthy amount of fear, the way I look at it in terms of code switching, hey man, I gave up on the idea of fairness a long time ago. So my mind is tied to success. My mind is not tied to fairness or, oh man, this ain't fair. Okay, well, what's gonna happen next? Is it gonna be fair now that you said it?
Yeah. One thing,
Or what's your next move, man? How you gonna win?
yeah, and I'm gonna leave it at this. But one of the things you said that I think is drastically different from the now versus the then. They use.
But wait, hold on one second, Carrie, because I think you're about to say something important. I don't know if you have a mic. I want to make sure we capture whatever you was about to say, because it started, we didn't catch like them first.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. So something important that he said, especially about the then and the now. As we grew up, we got to see consequences. We got to feel it. When I got busted with the Hills, we were the first group to get busted in their city to the suburbs, and they were out with picket signs and group 20s, 30s, because history is not taught. And through our history, the history of consequence, there's no Cosby Show on TV. There's no successes. There's only TV or so when we understand the consequences of code switching or whatever word you want to use, we grew up understanding it. The people that we inspire, they don't have a relationship to that.
Mm.
So they're going to make worse mistakes, and the system is designed to eliminate history of mistakes.
Oh, we missed that last line.
Okay, now go, Carrie, because we missed that very last 30 seconds.
Yeah, so the people that we inspire, they don't have a connection to the same level of consequences. Oh, be our different selves and environments.
Mm-hmm.
They might be just ask us, people listen to us, inspired by us, our children. When I can turn it off. Have the consequence knowledge that we have.
I think that's important that sharing that's a huge variable, seeing the consequences. You know what I mean? That's like, that is. And even going from what Carrie said to even what JT was saying, man, you better be laser focused on whatever you better be a dreamer and a visionary. JT, you're a visionary, you're a leader, and you kept your eye on, hey, this is what's driving me, right? That goal for success. And think about the people who don't have a mentor and don't have that innately or learn that. They're going to fall by the wayside looking for the fairness, unfortunately. Unless some of the good brothers like y'all tap in and say,
Well, I was thinking about one of my best friends in high school, man. I played ball with, and I never forget. I was looking at his report card, and he got straight C's, right? And he looked at me, and he was dead ass serious. He says, "Hey, man, I just want to be average and play ball." And guess what? He was average and played ball. So now at my age, I'm like thinking, I was like, well, mission accomplished.
Right.
And
Manifest.
and what I've learned on my journey, right, is everybody not coming.
No.
Mm.
And some people are happy where they are. And if they're happy where they are, then that's where you leave them.
Mm.
You know, I don't have time to try to teach quantum physics to a wino.
Wait.
So if you can't grasp and go with me on the concepts we talking about, then I'm just wasting breath and words that's too valuable. When I was growing up, and I believe it's still true, they told you tomorrow is not promised, right? So why am I wasting my breath and my words on deaf ears?
Mm.
So if the people we trying to help, mentor, or move don't want to listen, cool. Right? You know, and for those that want to come, let's go.
Real. Hey, B, that goes back to the pushing and pulling. I knew that was the
Pushing and
theme for
pulling.
the
Pushing and pulling. Let me throw the last ish question for discussion. And Jay, you kind of already talked about it and tapped into it. So as we think about this concept of the mass, how many brothers do we know who where that mask is so automatic that they can't find their way back?
Like, you want the number? I ain't gonna get.
No, just numbers. Just talk
conversation.
about it. Just talk about it. Like, what does that mean to know and observe a brother who feels like, because this is what I pulled from what Jay said, feels like, hey, listen, I know I'm wearing this mask and I'm comfortable with it, but we know there might be some, man, that brother could be doing so much. That brother could have got a 4.0 and could have been making B's and A's and got an academic scholarship and just walked on somewhere. You know what I'm saying? But to say, hey, I'm just gonna be average, play ball. That's manifested that, and is it even on us to put something on someone else like that?
Well, it shouldn't be.
Are we to say like that brother shouldn't be that way or should be a different way? So are there brothers out there that we've seen and how does that impact us and the folk that they're around? And B, is it on us to even not say not care?
It makes me go back to
different.
It makes me go back to your
not
first
anything
question.
different than they want.
It makes me go back to your first, one of the initial questions you had in terms of, hey, if you're code switching, what do you lose, right? If something, and thinking about what you're asking now is maybe we know people that have code switched so much that isn't actually their identity now. That is actually because they've done it so much over there, that I don't know if it's my place to say they can't come back, because maybe this is who they want to be or have to be, whatever it is, but they've done it so long that I don't know if it's still a mask or this is just the new them and they settle in. But I think for those if that's not who they are and they've done it so long, then they actually lost themselves, right?
I mean, my man Cypher on the Matrix, like, hey man, put me back in the Matrix. I know this steak ain't real. You know what I'm saying? But put me back. I want to be lied to.
Right. Well, and I don't know if it's our place. We can observe, but I don't think it's our place. Because that may be how they're getting to their success and their goals in that home they want, and putting their kids, you know, to get the master's degree or whatever it is. And so
didn't play ball.
They've learned to love that character.
So I may have a different perspective. You know, I think a lot of time it is our place, not our place to get them there, but our place to help them see what different opportunities look like, either through conversation like we're having now, through education, providing leadership, to show them what possibility look like, not to carry them there. But
okay, yeah, I can go for that. Yeah.
Up in South Central LA, I didn't know. I went to the military. I didn't know what possibilities were. I didn't know what a 3-bedroom house and making 6 figures or getting my kid. I had no representation of that until I saw it. What investing looked like until I was a regional manager, and my boss, who was a black guy named Rick Smith, VP, I was living on 4th Avenue. He said, "Kerry, I'm somebody to see you." He paid for a financial advisor to come to my house to do something for me that I needed to be done.
From that, I can understand that. Yes.
So I say, I think we have a responsibility. This is an example of that. If anybody's going to listen to it, hear it, taking our experiences and putting it on. That doesn't mean we're responsible for the person, but I believe we have a responsibility to pass along our information, our education, earnings, our investment information into people who will listen, and even the ones who may not listen, access to the information in case there's a day they want to turn it on.
Plant the seed.
I just think that we have an obligation. Somebody help me.
No, I agree with that.
Can't see. Can't be what you don't see.
That doesn't mean I believe I'm going to carry them, right? It just believe I want to let them know that I'm accessible to you.
That's real.
Skills I have that I'm willing to share with you, whether you use them or not, they're accessible to you. And I think we have education. Some may disagree, but that's my point of view on it.
No, I could ride with that because exposure does lead to expansion. And you know what you don't know, you don't know. But you did not close the door on that financial advisor that was sent to you.
Did not.
Good point.
And that's my point. With some people, I mean, you just can't help the unwilling. And like, you know, I work with a mentoring program, and somebody asked me, well, why don't you do something with at-risk youth? I said, well, that's somebody else's program. My program, I'm working with young men that want to better themselves, and they looking for help for staying on this track or getting to another level. I'm helping the willing in my program. They got other programs to help the unwilling, right? So I know my lane.
That's right.
You know, but it's funny because we all been in relationships, and if you've been in a relationship and you get told it's not what you said, it's how you said it in your delivery, and all y'all laugh because y'all know that's bullshit. Because if somebody don't want to hear it, I don't care if you throw a softball, fastball, curveball. I don't give a damn if you throw the slider. I don't care how you throw that pitch. Okay?
I ain't never
So That's just how I look at the unwilling. I'm sorry.
I've never figured out how to throw it in a way they're willing to catch it. I've never figured.
Come on, man. You know,
Always.
my aunt asked my uncle one time, "Does this dress make me look fat?" And he said, "No, your fat make you look fat."
Almost messed up my computer. Almost spit all that water.
Yeah.
So let me share a couple of things before we round this corner and close out. So I want to leave our viewers with something to sit with this week. It's, not homework, nothing like that. Just a question. Find a moment, a conversation, a room, a situation where you choose to show up as yourself instead of the version that you thought they needed. Let's do it one time and see what happens. Notice how it feels. Notice who's still in the room when you do it. Because, I talk a lot, and even in my work, when people ask me about work-life balance, I say it doesn't exist. I say it's BS. There's no such thing as work-life balance. You work to be your whole self no matter where you are. And that's why I love, and I don't think I ever said this, Jay, and I think I got some clarity about it tonight, that when I remember when you first said you was gonna get into the car business, what Lebo was part of it, like, man, that's a perfect business for this guy, man, because he can shoot straight, got this gift about seeing people. That's gonna work. It worked, and going through the different gigs that I got, yet getting to the point to where, on the question of what if somebody, from a top saw me working, I would hope they'd be like, oh, that's pretty cool that he do that. You know what I'm saying? They'd be like, oh, this dude, he get paid to do that. That's cool. Not that I'm different in a negative way, but I'm different that would elevate them exposure. Like, oh, you can do that. This is how you can impact and transform lives, by doing that, by asking this question, by engaging people. So yeah, I want to leave folk with that opportunity, who's listening, who's finding some gems, who's finding some places of some aha moments, some introspective moments to do the exercise. It's one room, one conversation, one situation, find the moment and just be yourself and see how that feels. Try it on for a second. So that's all I got. Last thing I do want to say is that, hey man, there's a part of me growing up, where I grew up, how I grew up, that I'm very clear and intentional about what I wear, how I wear it, how I smell, how I look, all of that. And it's one thing to say, to be groomed. It's another thing, because I'm still working out what's underneath it. I'm still working out, the I don't want to say trauma. Everybody uses the word trauma too much, I think. But I'm still working out how I had to deal with how I felt growing up in the project, not having money, not outgrowing my clothes before I got new ones, and seeing how I've probably seen based on where I live. So I'm very intentional, and I'm still working out where that comes from, about all those things: the grooming, the smell, the look. So I'm unpacking it real time. So thank you guys for your patience. So let's do it, man. Let's give everybody an opportunity to say the last word. Jay, last word. What's a gem, an aha moment, or final word that you want to leave folks with?
I would say that we talked about code switching. We talked a little bit about authenticity. Only you know what that is in your heart of hearts. Nobody gets to dictate that to you. I told my son years ago that when the whole room goes right and you stand still or go left, then I won't have to worry about you anymore, because you're a man that makes his own decisions and his decisions for himself based on your morals and principles. So one person's whatever sellout, okay, is another person's hero. You know, there's no hard and fast rule to this. You got your own personal standards and convictions that you live by. Let that be your guide. You know, as long as you're not crushing people and tearing up stuff and breaking laws, follow your code.
I love it. Carrie, final words.
Yeah, I think, man, this has been fantastic. I would say to everybody, to everyone, make sure you're respecting yourself at all times. If you respect yourself and you show up respectful, Rob, you talked about your image. You want to smell good. That's you. So you're going to show up to places respectful. You're going to show up to relationships respectful. You're going to show up to meetings and things respectful. Because if you're respecting yourself, you can then start working to demand a different level of respect. But if you're showing up any type of way to things that matter, whether it be in your personal life, your extended family, or your work situation, it's hard to get that respect back. So I would leave with code switching, learn to respect yourself and show up respectfully.
I love it. I love it. What a way to wrap this up. First, I want to say thank you to Dio on the boards. Thank you to, always got to give love to the Gathering Spot, you know, to help us grow. It was a part of that journey. Want to give love to Tally and Twine. You know, always wanted to give love to the Black watchmakers who do some good work. So this is that blue on blue. I love this one. It's one of my favorite pieces. So we'll have a link. We're an affiliate, so we have a link. And when the show gets edited down, so folks can tap into Tally and Twine. And big ups to you for tapping in. Like, subscribe, share, join the conversation, hit the chats. If there's topics that you want to talk about, that you think are pertinent, that makes sense for brothers to be talking about, that you heard in the barbershop, the cigar lounge, you know, or the library, you know, just let us know. And yeah, we love to hear from you, your ideas about topics. And thanks again for coming through, big bro. Appreciate you. Sands, thank you. I appreciate you. Dio, appreciate you. Hey, cut it. In the stream. We done. We out.